and one in Vancouver. And part of AREAA, we do a lot of trainings, a lot of educational courses. Prior to the pandemic, I think we did a lot of in-person meetings, in-person events. I think the last 2 years we had the opportunity to have Master Paul Ing to join us at our Chinese New Year lunch and dim sum, right? We always have the Chinese New Year live. But anyways, I can introduce you to Shirley Yi. She is our legal counsel for AREAA Toronto. I'll pass it to Shirley. Shirley?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Firstly, just a warm welcome to everyone here today, and especially a shout out to those who are joining us out of the GTA area. And if you are, thank you so much for taking your time out. Now, as Stephen says, traditionally, every Lunar New Year, we will have a nice celebration with a meal, a lion dance, and always with a speech by our own Master Paul Ing. Unfortunately, due to the limitations that we're facing today, at least I can say we have still maintained one tradition, and that's to have invited Master Paul Ing to give us his predictions for this coming year of the ox. Master Paul Ing, as you are aware, he is our most esteemed geomancer and philosopher. His credentials and CD reads like a who's who. From my knowledge, Master Ing has been consulted on at least 40 building projects and has been a consultant to over 70 countries. I'm going to allow Master Ing to expand more on his amazing background and what he's been working on. Now, those who don't know, Master Ing also provides private Feng Shui readings and consultations. And he can even name your newborn baby.
Background-wise, thank you, Shirley, and thank you, Stephen, for the introduction. Okay, I've been doing what I do not too long, really, only for 28 years. Okay, since full-time since 1993 and part-time since 1985. And so far, I have served clients from more than 70 countries and also served more than 40 builders and 9 banks in Toronto. Okay, and at Lunar 75 now, I'm still kicking. So just want to mention a bit about it. And it's an exciting career, okay, coming out of a corporate world and into the more practical world of meeting people all over. Now, so that's as short as I can put myself in for introduction. Now, I want to summarize a little bit about 2020, and then I'll lead you into 2021. The whole process will give or take about half an hour, as Shirley said to me. Now, what's wrong with 2020? Now, I make the prediction back in July 2019, usually 6 months before the year kicked in. I would complete my yearly prediction for the following year. Okay, far earlier than most masters. Now, I said 4 important things back in 2019, July. I said 2020 would be probably one of the worst years we've seen in our lifetime. It would be hit by 3 major health issues. Number 1, lungs and chest issues. And number 2, air transmitted germs. And number 3, most serious, are mental illnesses. Looks like all 3 happened. So that would be for 2020. Now, why would that happen? Because 2020 was hit by 2 things. Number 1, between 2004 and 2023, the whole world is in a life cycle of 8. So that's a governing number for these 20 years. But 2020 happened to be governed by the number 7. Number 7 is 1 number below 8. That means it's a receding number on one hand. On the other hand, the number 7 is a warring number in this life cycle of 8. That means either the world will get into wars and battles, or lots of disturbances for the year. And second reason is 2020 happened to be major yang metal and major yin water year. So you're having two extremities killing each other. Extreme yang, extreme yin. This thing only happens once every 60 years. So that means every 60 years of a yang metal red year, the whole world will be in turmoil. Okay, how will you know that? If you go back 60 years, that would bring us back to 1960. That's a year China went through the worst famine in history. A lot of people in Beijing or Shanghai couldn't even survive. So a lot of orphans, with the parents passed away, got sent to Inner Mongolia and became the nation's children. No parents, nothing. And also around that time, 17 countries in Africa went independent, creating tremendous wars and battles. So and also lots of financial issues worldwide between 1960 and 1966. For those people who lived during that period would have witnessed it. And then if you trace back 60 years, 1900, 8 countries from Europe, including Japan and USA, invaded Beijing and robbed a lot of national treasures. So if you go to England or go to Paris, you see a lot of the artifacts from Beijing from that time. Okay, so that's 1900. And 60 years before that, 1840, okay, the UK or England kind of bullied China, and then they stole Hong Kong from China. So Hong Kong became a colony to England. That's the Opium War. Okay, so every 60 years, the world would be in some kind of turmoil. Now, so the face back to look at 2020. But if interesting thing is for something bad, there's always something good behind it. So you can say this virus was a bad thing, but in a way it's a good thing. Because in my calculation, without the virus, Donald Trump would create a world war, guaranteed. But just before he could do it, the virus hit. That changed the whole picture. Now the same phenomenon happened in 1918. 1918, 1918, First World War, suddenly abruptly stopped. Why? Because the Spanish flu hit Europe big time, including Germany. So even the invader got hit. There's no sense to fight the war anymore. So the whole war shut down just like overnight. So Spanish flu saved many countries in Europe, even though it killed many people. Unfortunately, humans have not learned. So exactly what happened to 2020, in my physical calculation, is actually caused by two major reasons. Number one, if you trace back to 2019, that's a time when the world suddenly get really warmed up. As a result, in the North Pole and South Pole, a lot of ice got melted. Okay, so that means a lot of million-year-old virus that have been transmutating over centuries got liberated into the atmosphere. That explains why countries up north like Russia, Northern Europe, or way down south such as South Africa, Argentina, got hit the worst because they are the closest to the ice caps. Okay, and that's compounded with the fact that the ozone layer above our head had a humongous hole. That means the electromagnetic energy coming from the outer space, combined with this change of temperature, combined with the virus transmutated, created the COVID-19. Okay, so that's not incidental, that's meant to happen. So this climate thing is a big thing. They've been talking about climate change. The virus is part of the product of the climate change. Okay, to have liberated. So on the good side, the physical world war had not happened, but the COVID-19 is indeed a world war. Now this world war, I wrote an article in here, Inspirations from COVID-19. And this is my yearly book. Anybody who want a copy is free. It's at my home, in my at my door. You're free to come and just pick it up, no charge. Okay. Now, so the idea of the COVID-19, if the countries in the world will throw away the bias against any other countries and unite together, this actually is a unique opportunity for the world to join up and create better future for mankind. Unfortunately, we have a genius in the United States that didn't think so. Okay, so that means he would finger point to China. China happened to be the first one that raised the issue because they learned from SARS. And they closed Wuhan right away, very smart. When they were closing Wuhan, the world still laughing at China. When people began to wear masks, people still laughing. And they do the opposite until they learn the hard way. So if at the beginning people will unite and join up to create the vaccines, we would not be doing what we are doing today. We would all be clean, just like China or many countries in the world. So the problem is created by politics. So when politics is mixed into the well-being of mankind, disasters happen. But when is this going to change over? Now the lucky month for 2021 is May. The true cutover point is August the 8th. So from August 8th on, we can see this virus more or less gone, die down. Life will be more or less back to normal. So it's still half a year to go yet. That's what it is. So what's in the cards for 2021? Last year we suffered from the number 7 within the cycle 8. This year the life cycle is 6. 6 within 8 is money. Money meaning you're going to see stock market's going to fly through the roof this year. And in my calculation, another thing that's going to fly through the roof would be real estate. Between 2021, 2, and 3, I expect a lot of real estate, especially those below $2 million, okay, to go up by more than 50%, 50. Those with the high end will be lower. So that means low end and high end are getting closer. So the number one best thing for this would be real estate. Now, why? Because the number 6 has several meanings. 6 also hints money, but 6 also means mobilities. So that means 2021 is a year for mobilities. People like to move, like to change. In this moving, how do they move? Immigration, buying houses, selling houses. A lot of activities will be going crazy in 2021. Lawyers will do marvelous, especially those who focus on real estate. But lawyers will also do crazily well in criminals because this is a year of criminals too. Lots of criminals. Not people, because people gone crazy. Crazy and creating a lot of problems in the society. Okay? Now, so within this year, the governing number is 6. So where's the money center for 2021? There are 2 major money centers this year. One is the west, the other is the south, strict south. West will be typified by USA. So even though USA has gone like crazy in the past 4 years, surprisingly, this is year they will recoup a lot of it because they're into the money center. Okay, so that means the economy will recover relatively quickly within the United States. Now, and what's the South countries, such as Singapore, okay, and Australia, which surprisingly has controlled the virus fairly well because they are very strict. My friends in Queensland, okay, who left Miami, went back to Queensland in Australia, called me up and told me that there are only 6 deaths in all of Queensland. The virus virtually doesn't exist. Okay, it's because the good control of government, not like because the problem is yes and no, black and white, keep changing the mind. You don't know which way is ending. So we haven't got a united voice and a kind of a government with foresight. That's what we're suffering from. But this is still a great country. Okay? Now, so China will do extremely well this year because 3 years from now, 2024, China will be walking into a 40-year high cycle. From 2024 right through 2063. China will go way beyond USA by the time it reaches 2030s. And the peak of China will be 2040, the year. Okay, all this, nothing in our life is incidental. Everything can be quantified and calculated. Okay, so that's how I calculate the future of the world. Now, so that also means Western Europe will slowly recover from all this craziness, economically, etc. Okay, so now, since we live in North America, it makes more sense to focus on North America. So I believe there are some friends here from United States. Am I correct, Shirley? Just raise your hand. Yes or no? How many are from USA? No? Just show me your fingers. No idea. Okay. Well, I assume some people are from USA. So let's start with the USA. Now, in USA, it's a bit of turnaround year as well, thank God. Okay, I've been talking, I have 5 students in Miami, and we've been in close contact. And even though there's a lot of craziness, but Miami still has potential. I mean, Florida in general. Even though I couldn't go to Florida this year, as I always do every January, because I have so many clients in Florida. So this year, I could only do it through Zoom or through WhatsApp. But the financial center would be the Silicon Valley. That means in United States, San Francisco, San Jose, the real estate will continue to boom regardless. They will do very well. That also means the high-tech companies will continue to be kicking and laughing to the bank. Okay? And then, unfortunately, USA will go through a humongous number of natural disasters this year, such as flooding, drought, fires, earthquakes, you name it. A lot will be hitting USA. Quite a challenge. Now, Canada is more fun. Canada is governed by the number 2. The number 2 is a double-edged sword. 2 means sickness, but 2 also means earth. So the one specific sector that can save the life of Canada's economy, believe it or not, is also real estate, but also medicine. I think Canada by now would have learned a lesson. A big country, a beautiful country like this, how come it cannot create its own vaccine? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Okay? How come it's so hand-sighted? This should have been done years ago. Okay, you know how many things are created in China, in Canada? Canada created the fastest jet plane, first one in the whole world, the AREAA, and sold out to USA many years ago. Okay, and Canada also created the telephone, the bell. Wasn't created in USA, was actually created in Canada. Canada developed and created the fight against diabetes, the insulin. Okay, Canadians are very creative. How come Canada can't even create vaccines against COVID? That is not acceptable. Because Canadians are very, very smart. You notice people living in cold countries had a calmer mind than the hot countries and tend to work harder. So that means medicine and real estate are the 2 sectors in Canada that's going to turn around the economy of Canada. Okay. Now, if you dissect Canada as a country, the money center would be in Vancouver this year. So Vancouver would really turn around, economically speaking. The other money center in the south tip of the country. Where's the south tip? Ontario. If you look at the map, there's no provinces as far south as Ontario. Okay? So that means South Ontario real estate and economics, believe it or not, are going to improve a lot. Okay? So now, Toronto which is southeast tip of the country, enjoys the number 5. Number 5 is also a double-edged sword. 5 means serious illnesses. That means within GTA, not just the virus, you may see a record number of people catching cancer and also mental illness. Okay, it's a styles people haven't learned how to get rid of the stress. Okay, so how to manage stress is the key. But because you see a lot of Torontonians suffering from it, Torontonians going crazy, so crazy that purposely would drive up on a walkway and kill pedestrians. So if you are in downtown Toronto, don't think you're safe. Don't just walk on the pedestrian walkway and feel that you are absolutely immune from the traffic problem. Be careful when you do that. Okay, because some of that would happen here. However, the 5 is also a very powerful earth number. So let's dissect GTA in general. The centers where real estate would do particularly well, and I would say look at Richmond Hill, because Richmond Hill is governed by the number 2 earth number. Look at Unionville and Markham, because governed by the number 9, which is fire. Fire creates earth. Okay, Vaughan would be a little slower compared with the 2 regions. Okay, and also look at the places as far as Pickering, governs, which is southeast end of GTA. So southeast end is a 5 number, which is earth number. So you're going to see whether it's going to do well. Now I can also share some story with you about Markham. Last year I picked up 2 major projects, one for Minto to help them design 1,253 houses on Kennedy and Burrock. And then shortly after that, I picked up a second project for Kylemore, which is Angus Glen, 1,035 houses northwest of 16 and Kennedy. I'm chief advisor to both projects. And I'm also doing a project for another one called Hildebland Gardens, which is an old age home on Highway 7 and Birchmount area. $400 million project. Okay, and then another one coming up soon, City Park Homes, is also in Markham. Now, the reason why I mention it is the builders are no dummies. They've done a lot of market research. They do listen to me when I say this place is going to boom, and it will boom. I've never been wrong once in the past 30 years. Okay, so a place to look for. Now, the West End, like Etobicoke, you are going to see more activity there. But because Etobicoke are mainly Europeans, and they tend to be more conservatives, because of the conservative nature, the growth will be slower, not as exciting. But there's a lot of controversies toward the southwest side of GTA, okay, because Argument Center is there. And also the if you look at the center part, because the condominiums market downtown Toronto last year really suffered. It suffered because, number one, a lot of outside people, foreign people, could not come back to Toronto. That means the rentals really sank big time. And number two, okay, they were overbuilt, obviously. However, this actually create opportunities for investors. Okay, this is a very rare opportunity to buy into downtown if you can get to good pricing. Because this year, downtown Toronto is going to come back alive because it's the money center. Okay, so that's how the real estate works in Toronto. Now, and the three businesses that's going to do in a bigger picture worldwide: earth, metal, and water. Metal and water really sucked last year. They did poorly last year. Now, what is metal and water? Metal is metals themselves, but also automobiles, cars. And last year they really suffered. And what's water? Travel agencies are water. So travel agencies in 2020 literally died, period. Okay, zero income. Okay, And airlines, air flights last year also suffered. But metal water much better this year. Logistics will continue to lead the blend, regardless people are used to the e-commerce now. It's a trend that's hard to reverse now. Okay, so logistics will do well. That also in terms of real estate. Okay, two kinds of properties will be highly demanded. One is warehouses. Even if you have money, it's not easy to get them. Number two, for now, cottages. However, cottages also had a side effect. The moment the COVID goes back to normal, cottages may see quite a bit of adjustment. Why? A lot of people don't realize how much effort it takes to maintain cottages. The electric problems, the flooding problems, and they still have their price war. Okay, I pity those people. They haven't learned the lesson yet. They just, unfortunately, people have this mentality. If everybody jump into something, they also jump into something. Okay, that's quite dangerous. But I would say the future is still single detached homes, in particular bungalows. Now, in the 1970s, GTA built a lot of backsplit houses. These are fantastic houses, much less than 2,000 square feet and extremely usable. Okay, if the builders got smart and go back to those days and rebuild the backsplit houses, this would really take the whole world by surprise. It would be really hot items. Unfortunately, no builders have thought about it yet. And I haven't had a chance to propose that to the builders. Okay, maybe in my next few projects, I'll do so. Okay, so remember, Earth is real estate and medicine. Metal automobiles, that means cars, are going to come back alive in 2021, especially electric cars. So if you want to buy stock market, remember the one new baby from the group, NIO, N-I-O. Anybody heard about it? The electric car from China, their stock market is going to go beyond the clouds. Okay, so that would do very well. Water, I mentioned it, but also another side of water is clean water. Water is important, clean water. So if there are machineries that can generate clean water for us, that's godsend. That's really something. But wood and fire, especially wood, will suffer a lot. The most typical wood would be textile, clothing business. You're going to see a big downturn of clothing. A lot of big names are going to go bankrupt. And a lot of merger activities will happen among clothing businesses. So they're in quite a bit of a downturn trouble. What about fire? Fire is interesting. On one hand, it's good. On the other hand, it's bad. Bad because there would be a lot of controversies, trade wars among high-tech companies, okay, a lot of merger activities, buyouts, and a lot of arguments, copyright, patents. All that is going to be big time. So copyright lawyers is going to make a big money. Like my client I went to see today, a copyright lawyer. Okay, so they would do marvelous because of this. However, there would be a lot of new developments in high tech, but because the new development more or less touch on some kind of copyright, that's why this year is in the high tech sector will be full of arguments. So that's the wind and fire side. Now the fire also includes entertainment. Unfortunately, because of trailing effect of the COVID, entertainment sector will continue to suffer a bit this year until 2022. So that's the major sectors. Now, in terms of the banking industry, don't worry, Canadian banks will continue to make money. Okay, but what about stock market? Big ups and big downs. Too many people ask me the same question: should they buy Bitcoin? You know what? How I answer them? If you think your life is worth nothing, buy Bitcoin. If you think your life worth something, you better not touch it. Unless you have deep pocket, you can make money quick and you can lose everything overnight. because the world doesn't need bitcoins. The world does not even need solid money. The whole world is going electronic. Anybody who visits China would agree with me. You don't even need to carry cash in China. You use an iPhone or some kind of smartphone, zig, the WeChat, pay or receive money, done. If you give people $100, they may not even like it. They may think it's fake money. Using WeChat is real money. Okay? So, and then the whole world sooner or later will go toward electronics. Everything is electronic. So that's why Bitcoin is a gamble. Obviously, in the hands of a few powerful, wealthy guys, it may grow too, just artificially. For example, Tesla bought $1.6 billion in Bitcoin. I think they're playing the market. If not careful, they can lose it all. So very dangerous game. So stock markets are those with deep pockets. If you don't think your pockets are too deep, you better play real estate instead of the stock market, in my honest opinion. Okay? So another interesting, what about the food business? Don't worry, food will continue to grow in terms of money. Okay, that means we're going to pay more money for our food, unfortunately. It's pretty sad, isn't it? Okay, something we can do without, yet we have to pay far more for it. Now, in terms of other businesses, so I hope none of you is in the textile business. If you do, find a way to sell your business quick and get out of it quick. Okay, so that's about the business side. As the politics are concerned, there will be endless game. Okay, I never seen our government to miss so many opportunities in politics. Canada is a tough country to play politics. They cannot upset USA for sure, but they don't want to upset China either. So they are like sandwiches. So I am fortunate that I'm not a politician now. Okay. So otherwise, this would be a no-win game. So politics, the world would be a little bit better than last year. Because last year they missed the opportunity to unite. Okay. Now, but they're playing a go game, go. In other words, the world would emerge to be only 3 countries. All the other countries are just small players, small chessmen. The major players are China, United States, and Russia. Now, always in number 3. If you go back to history, always in number 3. Back in China, the same. So they are playing the game. And then some countries would flip to this one, flop to that one, flip and flop, flip and flop. So that means among countries, there's nothing called humanity. There's nothing called righteousness. It's only one word, profit. Or give you more profit, they decide on which one. So we better not even touch politics. It's such a dirty thing. Okay? Now, because of the time limitation, okay, I am going to jump right to the horoscope signs because people will kill me if I don't do that. Okay, so if anybody has questions later on, I'm here to entertain your questions. Now, this is a year of metal ox. Now, last year was also metal year, but metal red. But last year's metal, extreme yang metal. Yang is very dominant, very powerful. And extreme yin water, very soft, very extreme. This year is metal ox, but both are yin, much softer. So that means 2021 is the year to solve problems. To solve problems. So a lot of problems will get to be solved in this year, including COVID. And that will teach humans a new lesson to prepare for the future. But the good news is we won't be hit by this kind of thing until 60 years later, 2080. Majority of us won't be here to see it. Don't worry. Okay, 60 years later. Now, those people born in the year the ox, okay, you can raise your hands, raise your finger if you're born in the ox. Hello? Richard is the most honest guy. he admits it's an ox. Ox has two very powerful personalities. Number one, tough people. They just digging, working hard workers. But on the other side of the coin, ox is also the number one most stubborn sign. Once they make up your mind, forget it. There's an old Chinese saying, if the horse doesn't want to drink water, there's no way you can lower the bull's head. That's it. So when you are in the year of the ox, so what happened to the ox people? That means a bit of conflict. So rest more, exercise more, don't overwork yourself, be careful about small illnesses. But the ox people favor the metal sector of business this year. So if you're born in the year of the ox, you're in the business dealing with metals, dealing with cars, automobiles, you actually will do very well. And because ox is also a dominant earth sign, so that cannot outlook. So don't forget, real estate will be also suitable for the ox. So do it. Now the second sign is the tigers. Anybody born year the tiger? No, you guys are too humble. Tiger people on the negative side has a bit of luminous sign this year. So the tiger people like to do things on their own. But the tiger has two opposite signs coexisting. Number one is a dominant logic sign, learning sign. The second is a spiritual sign. So they are quite opposite. That means if you're born in the year of the tiger, if you're a professor, you're a teacher, you're an analyst, you will do marvelous. But at the same time, if you're a writer, you imagine things, you write novels, you will do also very well if you're born in the tiger. But if you are contemplating honeymooning, romances, not too much. We like to be left alone. You become more spiritual. Okay? So that's what the tiger should be like. The next sign is a rabbit. A lot of so-called masters said the rabbit had no good signs this year, which is not true. Okay? The rabbit is one of the most romantic signs this year. So if you're born in the year of the rabbit, you're in the business dealing with people, you're in the show business, you're an actor or singer, you actually will do marvelous. Or if you are in a position dealing with staff, dealing with people, okay, sales and marketing, and if you're a rabbit, take advantage of this year. You can't go wrong with it. Okay? Now the dragon and the ox are the blinking sign. Okay, so blinking sign is also a double-edged sign, because blinking meaning to make things fall apart. However, if you are a negotiator, okay, you try to break the knot between the management group and the unions, but you happen to be dragon, you will be a good candidate to do it, to be a mediator and negotiator, because you break that knot. Or if you're in the business dealing with demolition, okay, or excavation, and you happen to be dragon, you will do well. Otherwise, find things, you better stay away. You can break things easily too. You better don't tell your wife you don't wash dishes this year. Or if your wife, get the husband to wash dishes. Okay, so there's a breaking sign there. So it's double-edged sword. So you can use it to good use. Now, the third bad sign this year is the snake. The reason is the snake and the ox form a golden connection somewhat. Okay, so for the snake people, is into what? Into making money. So if you're born in the snake, you're an investor, you're a stockbroker, you're a real estate broker, you will do marvelous. Okay, and also relatively strong mobility sign for the snake as well. So if you are in logistics, you run a travel agency, or you do international trades, and you're a snake, congratulations. For those single snake people reaching the age of marriage, this is also a good year to consider marriage because of connectivity. So snake rank number 3, bad sign of the 12 signs. Now the horse and the ox had also a conflict sign in terms of relations. So if you're born in the horse year, you tend to create a terrible habit to argue with people, to fight with people, to fight with your boyfriend or girlfriend, your spouse or something. Okay, so remember, you're born in the year horse. Use your ears more, use your mouth less. Okay, talk less, listen more, argue less. However, because you are into the people issue, so if you happen to be in a business dealing with breaking the dead knots of people, it may not be a bad idea because you're more experienced. Okay, otherwise you should be in more mobility sign as well. And the horse, be careful about accidents. There's a bit of blood sign with the horse people, so be careful of it. However, the horse people is very impatient this year and a bit temperamental. So for those people born in the horse year, keep the cool. Keep the cool. Don't always burst with your anger. Then you would counteract the relations with people. Now, the sixth sign is the sheep or the lamb or the whatever you call it. Okay, I like to call it the sheep. Now, the sheep and the ox are opposite. Now, if you pluck the 12 signs in a circle, while the ox is on one pole, the sheep is exactly the opposite pole. So in Chinese philosophy, we call this relation the sixth conflict relation. 6, because it's exactly the sixth number in between. So that means it's opposite. When the signs are opposite, that means the sheep people would tend to lose money. Money losing sign right there. And also tend to have accidents easily. So if you are born in the year of the sheep, you need to spend money. Okay, so buy something. Renovate your home. Renovate something. Buy a new car. Buy a new home. Spend your money. But it's for your long-term gain. Since you had to, but do not gamble. Stay away from stock markets, penny stocks. Okay, you buy blue chips for long term, but not penny stocks if you're sheep. Okay, forget about casinos. Or if you want to win some money, find your friends born in the sheep year and play mahjong, play poker with them. You probably can win some money from them. Okay, but because there are conflicts, so sheep people should be more mobile, because when you don't move, you get hit more. So it's like doing Tai Chi. You move, you deflect the force. So the advice to the sheep people, travel. And the advice to the sheep people, spend money. Spend money for long-term gain. That's the key. Not waste money, but spend money. Now, the monkey people are into authority power. So if you are born in year the monkey, you're working for someone, you have a very good chance to get promoted or gain more authority. Or if you already own a business, you can consider to expand your business. Okay? So monkeys are into creation, into authority, into power. The more authority, the more money they can make. Okay, so as the relations are concerned, a little bit quiet, not like explosive. Calm but peaceful with relations. That's a monkey. Now the number one best sign for out of the 12 signs is the rooster. The rooster people and the ox sign form a true golden connection. That means the holding power of 2021 will come along to help the rooster people a lot. Good with money, good with business, good with opportunities, and most importantly, good with relations. So if you're already married, be more loving, but make sure you don't get into other relations, very important, because the sun is too dominant. So if you're in the business to do with people and to do with a kind of management, you should do very well as a rooster. And if you have dreams you want to fulfill, and you want to recoup whatever you lost last year, this is the year for you to recoup. So congratulations to the rooster people. Now the next sign is the dog. The dog and the ox has a legal conflict sign between them. Okay, good and bad. So if you're a lawyer, you're a politician, you're a law enforcer, and you happen to be a dog person, you do marvelous. However, if you're not any of those, please drive carefully. Be careful about getting tickets. Okay, also try not to get into controversies with people, especially in business. And if you're in real estate, if you're a dog person, double check all the contracts you sign up. Make sure you don't get absent-minded. Okay, so for the dog person, be judgmental. So if you are in a business dealing with judgment, it may not be a bad thing. You look at it both sides. Now, the fourth best sign this year is the pig, the boars. Okay, out of the 12 signs, the boar people are the most friendly of all 12 signs. They make friends more easily than other signs. This year, the boar are into several things. Number one, okay, major mobility sign. The number one travel sign of the 12 signs is the pig. And number two, fame. And number three, money. So in order for the pig people to make lots of money, remember to get famous or to travel more, to go to more places, okay, and to make more friends, then you do very well. Because the pig and the ox together with the rat is called the platinum connection. So actually it's connecting with the year in a powerful way. Now the last sign is the number two best sign this year, the rat. The rat people and the ox form a silver connection. So very harmonious year. So if you are born either rat and you're ready to get married, I would say get married this year. If you want to get in some kind of partnership in business, this should be a good year for you too. Okay, so this year the rat people are into people relations, into making money because the ox helps the rat into silver connection. Okay, so that's how you analyze all these 12 different signs. Okay, so now let me just quickly give you a rundown of the 12 signs' personalities. Now I emphasize the ox at the beginning, Richard being the ox. Stubborn, disciplined, tough. Okay, what about tigers? Flamboyant. Tiger is equivalent to the Western horoscope or Leo. Tigers and Leo personalities are very similar. So they are flamboyant, they like to talk, they like to show off, or they can be a little bit moody as well. That's a tiger. Now the rabbit sign is a very charming sign, but the number one most moody sign of the 12 signs. So the rabbit people mood can just swap from one moment to another. Sometimes very loving, sometimes you're never sure. That's a typical rabbit person. Now, the dragon people are the most creative of the 12 signs, very imaginative. In the hands of dragon, they feel everything can be done until it's not done. So because they're imaginative. So if you are dealing with dragon or you're a dragon, try to be creative, try to invent something. Okay. Now, snake people are very practical people. Snake and dragons are similar but different. Snake people are very good with financial, but they're always afraid of not having money. So one thing common between snake and rat, they like to put away the money. Money to them is very important. So they make good financiers. Now horse is the number one most impatient sign of the 12 signs. And horse moods can switch very quickly too. Almost like rabbit, but even quicker. Okay? You can see the horse people talk about something, go to the washroom, come back up, and become a different horse. Change the mood rapidly. But horse people are quick, efficient. So if you want somebody to get things done quick, better consider the horse people. Now, the sheep people are the most diligent people dealing with finances. So if you are a financier, you're an accountant, and you are a controller, and you happen to be born in the sheep, you should do very well. They're good with very detailed, very strong winning spirit. Monkeys are almost as stubborn as the ox, but not quite. Monkeys are creative, impatient, okay, and you can convince a monkey at the beginning, but not after the monkey makes up his mind. So monkeys are very loyal in general, okay? There's an old Chinese saying, I don't know anyone heard about it. If you get married to a monkey, you will follow this monkey all over the mountains. That means how loyal a monkey spouse could be. Roosters like to talk, like to show off a bit. They also make very good business people. Nothing wrong with it. Dogs are very loyal in general, but also don't ever upset a dog person, because dogs can remember the hatred for years to come. Once you do something wrong to a dog person, you may be remembered for years to come. So stay away from upsetting a dog person. But dogs are very loyal. If you get your dog to help you do your work, that's your luck. Now, pigs are the friendliest of the 12 signs. They are also the most neutral of the 12 signs. That means pig people make friends easily. They are very mild, so it's not a bad idea to find a spouse born in year the pig. Okay? Now, so the rats are the most detailed, very demanding. So if you find someone born in the rat, or some people like to call them mouse, hopefully like Mickey Mouse, don't underestimate them. They're very detailed, meticulous. Okay? Now, imagine the most beautiful sign, number one. Actually, 3 signs are, in general, the combination make the most beautiful sign. Snake, okay, rat and pig. A person's life chart with 1 pig and 1 rat is the most beautiful. Okay, double pig, double rat are also good looking. That's something I summarized after I done live reading from more than 20,600 people worldwide. I come to some conclusions how lives are like. So that concludes my, I don't even know how long I talked. Sorry about the lengthiness. So I thank you everybody, and thank you for your attention. And Happy New Year, and be successful and more successful for this year coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Master Ing. Once again, thank you very much for everybody for attending AREAA. We do these type of events a few times a year.